Welcome to Buff Sports Live. I'm Mitch Sanchez.
And I'm Vinay Simlot. Mitch, happy Halloween. What's your costume?
I'm an X-ray.
Nice. I can see right through you. And I'm a baseball player at his introductory press conference. But on to sports. Mitch, I said last week that if Colorado loses to Oregon State, we've got big problems, leaving many fans looking like they'd seen a ghost.
It was a spooky loss, especially for homecoming week, when alumni came in from out of town to see the Buffs get embarrassed.
Yeah, let me frame this game for a second. Oregon State came in having lost their last 12 games against Pac-12 opponents. That goes back to 2015, and they've lost 22 straight road games, and it started off pretty badly for them with this interception first by Dante Wigley, who says, "No LaVisca Chenault, don't worry, I got this." Takes a deflected pass to the house, 26 yards, pick six, the first of his career. The Buffs up 14-0. And then Montez to K.D. Nixon. Take a look. Rolling out to his right, throws it to K.D. He loves those receivers from DeSoto, Texas. Colorado leads 24-3 at the half. And then Montez hands it off to Trayvon McMillan, representing the Old Dominion, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Takes it 75 yards, puts Colorado up 31-3. Last touchdown Colorado would score in this game, because here comes the knight in shining armor for Oregon State. Jake Luton tosses a couple of touchdowns, both to Isaiah Hodgins, and this is where Mac's stomach starts churning. The Beavers tied up here on this touchdown. They missed the extra point, so we go to overtime, and that's where Jack Coletto, back in as the running quarterback, goes in and scores. And CU has to score here, otherwise the game's over, and well, you see what happens. That's the game. Colorado loses 41-34. Jake Luton comes in with 5 career touchdowns, and he tosses 3 in this game.
Well, a sunny day here at Folsom Field was overshadowed by some clouds later on as the Oregon State Beavers outscored the Buffs 38-10 to stun them in overtime. The Buffs offense looked good for most of the day. Wide receiver K.D. Nixon had 198 yards and 2 touchdowns in LaVisca Chenault's absence, but unfortunately his performance was overshadowed by a late drop in the end zone, which would have tied the game up in overtime for the Buffs. And unfortunately for him, it's a reflective process in the moment. Here's what he had to say about it.
Best game turned to the worst game. I dropped it. I let down the team. Lost the game because of me, so I live with it and make up for it.
The defense also looked good for much of the first half, holding Oregon State to just a field goal in the opening 2 frames, but unfortunately they collapsed in the second half. Here's what senior linebacker Drew Lewis had to say about it.
It's very devastating. I think that it shocked all of us, and none of us were really expecting that to happen, being the fourth quarter team that we were. It might have been because we were getting comfortable, and we were letting them make these deep bombs, and maybe it was our communication kind of lacked a little bit as the game went on. Obviously, we started out pretty hot, and I wish we could have finished out the same way.
The Buffs will need to bounce back quickly with a game in Tucson against the Arizona Wildcats looming on Friday night. Sitting at 5-3, they're also 1 win away from bowl eligibility, and with USC losing to Arizona State earlier today, they're also in contention for the Pac-12 South. So this is a team that still has a lot to play for with 4 games left. I'm Jack Stern, Buff Sports Live.
As Jack said, Colorado's next game is tonight against the Arizona Wildcats. If we flash back to last year, you'll remember Colorado was torn apart by quarterback Khalil Tate. He's back this year, and Kevin Sumlin, their new head coach, has tightened up the defense, making this a tougher game for Colorado than expected. The Buffs enter this game as 3-point underdogs with injury issues, LaVisca Chenault remaining day-to-day, and we're not sure if kicker James Stefanow will play after missing the last 2 games.
That loss against Oregon State brought questions on the job security of head coach Mike McIntyre, who, after losing to the worst team in the Pac-12 and blowing a 28-point lead, is on the hot seat. Coach Mack is in his 6th season here in Colorado with only 1 winning season, an overall 30-41 record, and he has no signature wins to pad his resume. After an embarrassing 2015 season, they promised Pac-12 championships. After that 2016 season, Coach McIntyre signed a huge contract extension worth over $16 million. If Colorado fires McIntyre, it'll be an expensive $10 million buyout of the remaining 3 seasons on his deal. In the remaining 4 games, Mike McIntyre could be coaching for his job.
Put away those floppy disks, close those encyclopedias, stash your media guide. I'm stashing mine now. And hide your magic 8 ball, because it's time for the BSL trivia question. I hate to keep reminding you all, but last weekend the Buffs lost to Oregon State in football in overtime. So we're asking you, when is the last time the football team went into overtime? The answer later in the show.
Mitch, you know what this show could use?
What?
More Jack Stern, and he's coming up later on.
That's right. Jack Stern is live. Well, actually, he's not live at Prent-Up Field, but we'll have an update on soccer on our spooky Halloween show.
Heard about the BuffSports Live desk troll?
There's no such thing, Jake.
1992, he bit an anchor's foot clean off during the show.
No way.
We're back on BuffSports Live. Unbelievable women's basketball game last night. Wendy Kennard was amazeballs. Well, the show must go on. She had a triple-double in 60 minutes of play as the Buffs went on to win.
The soccer team had a match at home against the 8th-ranked UCLA Bruins on Sunday. Chloe Casanata scored a goal in the 19th minute to open the scoring. Taylor Korniak tied the game up midway through the second half. But Ashley Sanchez broke the tie with a goal in the 78th minute off a steal, and the soccer team lost to number 8 UCLA Bruins 2-1.
And the soccer team's playing Utah right now at Prent-Up Field. We've got a live update. It's the 75th minute of this match. Colorado's losing 1-0 after Utah scored in the 10th minute against goalie J.J. Tompkins. This is senior night for Colorado. They're hoping to get a win before they head to the NCAA tournament next.
Senior Danny Jones was awarded the title of Pac-12 cross-country champion for the 2nd year in a row. Danny is the first Buff individual since 2002 to win back-to-back conference titles.
Along with Danny Jones, a few other Buffs were recognized as all Pac-12 cross-country runners. McKenna Morley, Danny Jones, and Joe Klecker were named to the first team. The Pac-12 decides on the first and second team assignments based on how runners finish at the Pac-12 championships.
The men's and women's basketball teams had some tune-up scrimmages last week, and Vinay was there with the story. Well, do you want to talk about what you talked about there?
Yeah, so the men's and women's teams both had scrimmages at the CU Events Center last week. The men's team had their annual black and gold scrimmage. The women's team played Southern Nazareth University. The women's team destroyed SNU. It wasn't even close. I think it was 94-41. And the men's team, Tad Boyle wasn't happy with his upperclassmen. He said they looked lazy, they weren't moving the ball around well, and they're looking for an option to go to on offense because there's nobody who can go out and score 25 points a game like George King could last year.
Okay. Freshman guard Emma Clark hasn't suited up for a single game yet in her CU career with women's basketball. But earlier this week, she traveled to Bangalore, India to compete in the FIBA U18 tournament representing the Australian national team. Clark is no stranger to international basketball. Last year, she led the team Australia to a championship victory for the U17 age group. Because of the tournament, Clark missed the team's lone exhibition game against Southern Nazareth. Hey, Vinay, they're playing in India?
Yeah, Bangalore, India. That's in the south. They play a lot of basketball down there.
Anyway, coming up, we'll get some updates on volleyball and golf.
And since it's our scary show, we want to show you as much Jack Stern as possible. More Jack Stern coming up. Stick around.
We are the University of Colorado sailing team, still the only college sailing team in Colorado. Last year, we traveled to 5 regattas and hosted our own using the fleet we bought with community support.
This year, we're raising money to purchase a safety boat that will take care of our sailors and lead effective practices to get them in tip-top shape to kick stern at regattas.
Weather changes happen quickly in Colorado, so we need to be prepared in case anyone ends up in the water. A safety boat with a proper engine will help make sure we can get people and their boats to safety in the event of a capsize.
Safety is our team's top priority, and this boat will help us prepare for the worst scenario. This boat will put us on track to being the safest, the fastest, and the most effective team.
Donate today to help us reach our $4,000 goal and get CU Sailing to Colorado. Share to everyone you know to spread the word. Your help will be on our way to be a safer and more successful team.
The Volley Buffs tipped off a brutal weekend on Friday, first against the 19th ranked Washington State Cougars. Colorado lost 3-1 and won just the third set. Alexa Smith still had an outstanding game with 20 kills and 16 digs. The team committed 23 errors in the match, though.
The Buffs flipped the score in the next game against 21st ranked Washington, winning 3-1. Colorado lost the third set and almost lost the fourth set, but came back behind Brianna DeLuzio and Anzie Smith. Coach Jesse Mahoney credited the 16 blocks to the Colorado defense for the win.
After that big Pac-12 weekend here at home for the volleyball team, they went on the road to California, sweeping the Golden Bears in 3 close sets. Alexa Smith tied the record for the most errorless kills in a match with 33. This was the first Pac-12 road sweep for Colorado, and they look to keep trending upwards in a tough match tonight against Stanford.
The number 23 women's golf team finished 4th on Tuesday at the Southern Methodist University Trinity Forest Invitational. Illinois rose to first with a total score of 872. Behind them was Tennessee at 881, and to rub it in, recent football opponent Oregon State came in third. Junior Kirsty Hodgkins was the highest Buffalo individual with her first top 5 finish of the season, tying for 4th. About the team, Coach Ann Kelly said, "We're not at our best yet, but we'll get there."
You know, Mitch, I've been saying that about our show. We're not at our best yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but at least we're not news team. Don't tell Steve I said that.
You got that right. Coming up, we got the hot man with the hottest segment, James Margulis, in studio, and he's on fire.
Take 1, and fade camera 2. Take 3, ready, red. Roll red. Take him 1. Take red. Take it. Come on, roll red. Let's go. All right.
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just calling the show.
There's no show.
All the way to Hawaii to participate.
On Tuesday, lacrosse assistant head coach Alex Frank was chosen as the IWLCA D1 Assistant Coach of the Year. In her 3 years with Colorado, she's seen 6 Buffs get Association All Honors, 11 Buffs get All Region, and 18 selections for All Conference. Frank will be officially honored in 2 weeks at the association's annual meeting.
And now's the part of our show where we tell you the answer to that trivia question. I know you've been waiting for it. The trivia question was, when was the last time the football team went into overtime? This question was inspired by my own experience. I didn't think I had ever witnessed our team go into overtime, but in fact I had. My first game as a Buffalo, the 2015 Rocky Mountain Showdown, we went into overtime when CU beat CSU 27-24 in 1 OT.
And our spooky tweet of the week comes from the football team who tries to scare their players every year. Take a look. Some of the players reacted, some didn't even flinch. Hopefully they don't flinch like that when they see the spooky Pac-12 standings after this game. Mitch, I just got an update on that soccer game. There are 85 minutes left in the game, and CU's still down 1-0 against Utah.
Sounds like a close one. Sounds like a good one to watch. Let's turn it on once this is over.
Yeah, since Colorado lost their first game, they haven't won. They haven't bounced back, but they're looking to bounce back in the NCAA tournament.
Good to hear. Before we finish this out, I want to make a few faces. Okay, just had to get that out of my system. Yeah, let's finish this out. My name's Mitch Sanchez for Vinay Sunwat. This is Buff Sports Live. We'll see you next week.